When I think of Sonic, I think of his loud mouth but charming nature.
Talk about low-budget flights, no food or movies. I'm out of here. I like running better.
I think of the bot rock music, which I love by the way. I think of the colourful and vibrant levels with an equally as colourful supporting cast. So when I played Sonic Frontiers, I was surprised to find that it was the complete opposite. There's just a very downbeat and melancholic feeling to this game. I know there were previous attempts at making a more serious Sonic game, but those attempts fell flat for one reason or another. I feel Frontiers is the Sonic team's best attempt at going in this direction. To quickly explain the story, Sonic is looking for the Chaos Emeralds, which are located in this area called Starfall Islands, which is the main location of the game. He gets transported to this other dimension of Starfall Islands and he ends up alone by himself. He's feeling lost and confused, seeing that none of his friends are here with him. Starfall Islands is made up of these large open fields with the architecture looking like remnants of a previous civilization. The first area, called Kronos, has this very cloudy, gloomy and overcast look. I'm from the UK, so this type of weather is something I'm very familiar with. There's also barely NPCs here compared to games like Sonic Adventure and Sonic Unleashed, where there was an abundance of them, giving those games a more warm and lively feeling. In Frontiers, you are by yourself in these very open fields while this calming and sombre music is playing. It's not the type of music you would expect in a Sonic game, so you know that right from the start, it's going to be different. I'm going to be honest with you, I really love the entire feeling and atmosphere of Sonic Frontiers. It's hard to describe the feeling it gives off, so I'll try to give a comparison. This game feels like a 4 AM sunrise. The sun is rising, the sky is turning orange and blue, yet the world is still asleep. The streets are empty and there's barely anybody outside. Imagine you're walking through the streets during this hour, and I guarantee the feeling you'll get will be similar to the feeling of playing Frontiers. It's also quite lonely, as the world of Sonic Frontiers barely has any inhabitants. You do eventually come across your friends, only to realise they didn't enter this dimension with you. They are not there in their physical form, so you're still alone, being made to traverse these huge environments by yourself. The areas are filled to the brim with various platforms, boost pads, bounce pads, which makes the traversal really fun. There are a bunch of collectibles which can be obtained by doing these quick platforming puzzles. For me personally, there was something really relaxing and comforting about collecting all of these items. You're lost in this huge area, so you do the things you are familiar with in order to cope. So that's exactly what I did. Maybe that's what the game was going for, I'm not really sure. Again, these maps are really huge, and the more you explore, the more you open up different areas of the map. This lonely feeling will start to turn into a feeling of wonder. You begin to discover these huge sprawling towers that can be climbed. You come across these huge robots, and fighting them gives you a rush. Climbing on them and dodging their attacks while this epic music is playing feels amazing. It starts to feel like Sonic again. You then have the boss fights, which I would say are the highlight of this game. You have these massive set pieces where you have to utilize everything you've learned. You then turn into Super Sonic while these amazing rock tracks kick in, featuring vocals by Kellen Quinn from Sleeping with Sirens for all you emo and screamo old heads out there. You have the music blasting while you're flying through the sky, going up against this gigantic robot the size of a building. you feel as powerful as the boss, which is quite rare for a game. Again, it starts to feel like Sonic. These are some of the best boss fights in the entire series. In fact, I would say they are the best. You then have the Cyberspace levels, which are more reminiscent of that classic 3D Sonic formula. The Cyberspace levels involve you going from start to finish as fast as you can while collecting red stars in order to obtain enough keys to access the Chaos Emeralds. A lot of these stages take fragments of Sonic's memories, which is why they may seem aesthetically familiar, such as certain areas looking like Green Hill Zone, Sky Sanctuary or Chemical Plant, to name a few. These levels are really well done in my opinion. The designs are amazing. The music goes for a more electronic drum and bass style, which I found to be some of the best music I've heard in a game. It's like a throwback to that early 2000s futuristic sound. I'm not even joking, you can go listen to all the Cyberspace soundtracks yourself. It feels like a modern take on the more retro tracks. But yeah, I really enjoy these levels. My only complaint about the Cyberspace levels is that they are a bit too easy and a bit too short. Though there was this one level that was really strict with its timing. So being the pro gamer that I am, I decided to give it a shot. I still got it. Subscribe if you like your video game analyzing nerd to also be good at the game he talks about. The difficulty does actually get ramped up with this update called Another Story, which is a free update that gives the game a revised ending. A bunch of levels were added here that are basically a remix of the stages from the base game, and man, these stages are difficult. Some of the most difficult levels I've played in a Sonic game. These remix stages really test your reactions, reflexes and your speed. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I try to go for the highest rank on each stage, and they made me work for that. There are more collectibles here which are even more hidden. The stages are longer and there are so many more branching paths. So I had to practice going through the most optimal routes. Not only that, they are also more strict with the timing required to get the highest rank. I spent so long on these levels that I actually ended up breaking some of them. Check this out. Subscribe if you like your video game analyzing nerd. Oh yeah, Big is here for some reason.
Oh, hey Sonic, you come here to fish too?
Big? What are you doing here? How did you get here? What even is here?
He's just there to help you do some fishing because every open world game needs its mandatory fishing game. It's actually pretty engaging, I'm not gonna lie. I've caught a bunch of different types of fish and a treasure chest because why not? We're getting a bit off track here, so I'm gonna make you feel sad again. The main NPCs of Frontiers are these small beings known as the Coco. They are from a previous civilization, a civilization that has been completely wiped out. You help them complete tasks with the help of your friends, such as helping a mother collect her children or helping two lovers reunite with each other. After helping them, you realize something. You are actually interacting with their souls. They are already dead, but they seem to be stuck in this purgatory, which is the dimension you are in. By completing these tasks, you are freeing their souls, giving them a sense of completion and helping them peacefully move on to the afterlife. That is actually quite sad and quite dark. There's just a very somber feeling to this game. You then have the main cast, who are also not as vibrant as they are in the other Sonic games. One that stands out the most is Amy. She's no longer the girl who is constantly crushing over Sonic. Instead, her admiration for him encourages her to become stronger and more reliable, being somebody Sonic can depend on. You also have Tails, who wants to become strong enough so he doesn't need to rely on Sonic all the time, like he did in the previous games. You then have a new character called Sage, who is an AI robot created by Eggman to be his assistant. Eggman also finds himself trapped in this dimension, and Sage is finding a way out for him while also trying to kill Sonic, as per Eggman's orders. She does this by controlling the giant robot titans you fight throughout the game. As the game progresses and you interact with more of your friends, Sage notices how strong the connection is between all of you, despite facing insurmountable odds, and wishes these feelings are something she can also experience. In other words, she wants to find a place where she can also belong. Her relationship with Eggman develops throughout the game, and you can also see some growth in Eggman himself. There are some endearing moments between him and Sage, as he shows a more parental and human side to himself. Whether they follow through with these character developments in future Sonic games is a topic for another time, but for what Frontiers was going for, it worked really well in my opinion. The game just gives off a feeling of reflection and growth, and you see these aspects in the characters themselves. I know the Sonic team are currently working on their next big Sonic game, and they've been pretty quiet about it. If the game does end up being a follow-up to Frontiers, both in terms of gameplay and tone, I would actually be okay with it. Frontiers is one of my favourite Sonic games, and it's a special game to me because it's something I experienced during a difficult period of my life. The overall feeling of the game, the things I've mentioned in this video, was exactly what I needed at the time. If you haven't played a Sonic game, you can jump right into Frontiers without having to play any of the previous games. I didn't even mention the other maps, by the way. There's about 5 different areas which are all huge in their own right, so there's plenty for you to get stuck into. If you have played Frontiers, let me know if you enjoyed it or not, and if you're happy with the direction of this game. Thank you all for watching, feel free to subscribe, and I also want to say a big thanks for the support I've been receiving in my other videos. Making these videos are purely a passion project of mine. I'm very big on how a game makes me feel, and I try to express and articulate how I'm feeling, and to see it resonate with a lot of you means a lot to me. I'll keep doing what I'm doing, and I hope you can stick around for the long haul because I don't plan on stopping. Thank you for watching, I'll see you around.